My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, worked in community relations, now marketing and public relations. And I was working a couple of jobs, going to school. I was working at UPS, I was working at a sub shop, and she liked it here, and she said, "Why don't you apply for a job? There's an opening at the Southwest branch." And I was a writer, and so I thought that was a good idea. So I applied and I got the job. So starting out, I was the fifth branch clerk hired at the Southwest branch. It was the newest library in the system at the time, and that was the summer of 1990. I worked there as the branch clerk for a year, and then I became one of two branch clerk subs for the system, and I worked out of the Division of Branches office. My first assignment was to stay at Southwest because I was kind of replacing myself, and I was there for a while. But then I had a really cool job working for John Martin in the Division of Branches. I would, at that time there were 9 branches, so I'd be assigned to a different place every day. And it was cool because they were always happy to see you because they were short-staffed. And whatever happened, you just kind of left it behind because you weren't going to be there the next day. So I really enjoyed that. And then I did that until 1993. I got married in 1993. I needed more money because I got married. And so I took a shot at becoming a manager. And I think my second attempt at becoming an assistant manager, I was hired to be an assistant manager in circulation. I worked briefly under Craig Wilkins, and then he moved to a branch, and I worked for Wendy Bost as she was the department head in circulation, and then Debbie Tour followed her. I stayed in circulation for a few years, and then in 2000 I became the department head of special services. That was a really cool job. I was in charge of the home delivery system and also the mailroom at the time. It was a very interesting time, a time of transition for special services, because we were, at the time, we had our ILS was DRA. And as the library was trying to become more online, we were starting to take online reservations for our home delivery service. But DRA was not equipped to take that, and so we sort of made it look like we were taking online reservations, but really what was happening was when patrons were making those reservations online, it was just putting them all in a database, and then every morning we would go through the database and like manually enter those holds. So we were like getting up to like 700 a day because we were growing and the website was becoming more popular. And then we transitioned to, at that time, Millennium, which became Sierra Innovative. And that was interesting because most ILSs, from my experience, aren't really equipped to handle a home delivery service like we have, where we're just checking it out and mailing it to people or having PEP deliver it. So it was an opportunity to kind of figure out how that worked with the ILS, the new Millennium system. And we did that, and during my time in special services, home delivery grew like really crazy. It went to, I think we were doing like up to 75,000 a month by the time I left, and great crew. And then I had the opportunity to become the head of circulation. I did that for a while. Circulation, I brought the mailroom with me, so the mailroom became part of circulation when I became the head of Circ. And then a few years later, Questline became part of Circ, so I used to joke that we were the front door, the back door, and the phone, which we kind of were. And I stayed in circulation through all of that growth, and finally, I had the opportunity to become the first department head of the Melrose Center. Up until that point, Melrose was part of TEC, the Technology and Education Center, and it was a great opportunity for me. I'm kind of artistic. I'm a musician, and being able to be part of the Melrose Center kind of emerging and becoming really vital has been like probably the most rewarding part of my career here. So yeah, that brings us up to date, right? when I started, PEP wasn't delivering all of the items. They did probably about 85% of home delivery. We were mailing the rest. So I sort of came in as we were seeing PEP take more and more chunks of the county under their supervision. Like I mentioned, it was the emergence of the website that was impacting home delivery. We grew so much, and we really outgrew the space. If you think about the Orlando Public Library now, where the graphics department is down in the basement, that was special services. We were in those two rooms, and there were days when the line of holds wouldn't fit in the room. We would have to like put them out in the hallway. So the area that is now home delivery and some storage was kind of a vacant space. It used to be the children's department that used to be down in the basement. And so I kind of had my eye on that. I talked to Debbie Moss, my manager, the assistant director at the time, into like maybe letting us turn that into special services. So I was really happy to be part of that. So I kind of oversaw the move into those new digs. I know there's a video somewhere that we made called Special Services, the Movie, which really features that move. So if you can go on the Orange Peel and you can find that stuff, you can see me and an incredible crew that I had back then as we were all excited about moving into that space. The emergence of Millennium and which eventually became Sierra was a challenge. With the old system, the disadvantages I mentioned was holds weren't actually going into the system, but the actual checkout process was like 2 steps. Millennium was able to take those holds automatically and actually make them live holds, but that checkout process became like a 10-step process. So there was some streamlining, and I know Joanne Sampson, who followed me in that department, continued to streamline that. That all went along with PEP becoming more and more integral to what the library does, handling all the deliveries between branches, ultimately taking over packaging. So yeah, and again, I've been lucky everywhere I've gone to work with amazing staff. The special services crew at that time was super dedicated. They loved what they did, and we were really happy with the job we were doing. I mean, we're talking 36 years. Okay. There wasn't an internet. How about that? My first job at the Southwest Library, when I wasn't like on the desk checking in and checking out items and making library cards, and when I wasn't shelving, was my off-desk duty was putting cards in the card catalog. So every week we would get another batch from tech services, and we'd have to actually file those. So yeah, that's a big one, right? I became a manager at the tail end of Glenn Miller's tenure here, and so he was a little hesitant, I think, to move into the internet. Now, Glenn Miller did a number of amazing things here, home delivery being probably the chief illustration of that, but also like kind of helping design this entire expansion that we still enjoy at OPL. But I think that was probably a big thing. Then the internet coming to the library, and I think initially there would be like 3 computers on each floor that had the internet. So that's probably the most obvious thing, but there's a bunch of others. I think the pride that the staff feel working at a library, I mean, I can remember the crew that I worked with. I remember their names at Southwest: Darlene, Linda, Mary Jo Beal, who actually hired me, Dean Paget. These folks, early on, I could tell how much it meant to people to work at a library, because essentially you're just doing good. You know, you're not selling anything, you're trying to help people find resources. It sounds a little corny, but that's the common thread. I mean, right until today, you know, we're in this amazing space in Melrose. I work with people who are not your traditional library workers, but they are just as passionate as the people I worked with at Southwest in terms of wanting to show people resources and help them learn. So that's the thing that stays the same, is people get into this business because that's what they want to do, and I'm always appreciative of that. Here in Melrose, like speaking personally, I think it's been great to be able to like just absorb knowledge. I am not under any illusion that I am an audio engineer, but being around a bunch of audio engineer instructors has enabled me to kind of take the reins of that type of work in my own pursuit, with my own band. I understand the language now, I understand the equipment, so that's had a major impact on me. I was actually on my way in, I was listening to a mix that I made at home, and I'm doing that because of what I've learned here. So that's been great as a musician, and I think just kind of philosophically, I see the world through song lyrics. Song lyrics have informed me my whole life, and so I can't help but, I think, bring that to whatever I'm doing. And I know if you talk to my staff or my colleagues, my friends here, they will definitely say that probably at least once a week I say something, that reminds me of this lyric, blah, 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 and they probably get tired of hearing that, but that's just who I am. Oh man, that's a really difficult question. Oh man, I don't know if I can nail one. Wow, funniest thing. I think, I had a lot of fun making videos over the years. We made a number of videos, like starting in the late 90s. Carla Fountain was the HR manager, and she wanted us to create a video to illustrate the library's values. And those experiences, we made, I think, 3 of those over like maybe an 8-year period. Those were always a lot of fun and had funny moments. We made Halloween videos that were pretty hysterical. Had the chance to dress up as Neil Diamond once and have like some type of weird battle with Charlie in Children's. That's, again, you can find that on the Orange Peel, folks. For those of you who don't know what that is, never mind. But those things were kind of cool. I think I have a few, really. I mentioned John Martin. He was pretty important to me early on. He taught me how to be a professional, I think, working with him in his office. He's also the person who told me long ago that if you have an opportunity to retire early and you are able to do it, do it. And those words have been in my mind for a long time. And so I would say John Martin is somebody who was a role model. Carla Fountain was pretty important to me, again, and just helping me utilize empathy and understand how to work with different types of people in a compassionate way. Debbie Moss taught me a lot. I was reporting directly to Debbie for, 20 years maybe, close to that, and that's a long time to have one manager. I'm really lucky to have had just one manager. So I think that she taught me a lot. And I think I learned from staff too. Role model is a weird word, but I've been really lucky to work with a lot of people who have influenced me, and it's not just my supervisors, but my staff and people who, managers that have worked for me that I've learned from. Stephanie Lum, I've had a lot of time working with Stephanie over the years in different departments, and so I think I've learned from her and how she can be really great at organizing and helping me do that type of stuff. We have incredible resources here. Obviously, people come in every day, and after they say, "Why don't you ever talk about? Why don't I know about this place?" They're blown away by all the different things that we have. But it's just a space without the people who come to the center with the knowledge to actually share that with people who are passionate about teaching, and who, again, they catch that library bug and they want to be the agent of support. That's what the most valuable thing is the people who are here to share their knowledge with you, and they come with a wealth of that. So I would say clearly it's the people. Don't be hesitant to try things, to try to move the center forward in unique ways that we haven't tried before. Because I think in addition to the resources, that's kind of what the expectation I hope we have established is that, my mantra here has kind of been, I don't know, let's give it a shot. And I think that has benefited the center over the last 10 years. I can think of maybe a couple. Having the chance to go to ALA in 2008, and I was no longer the manager of special services, but I was there because I had, before I left special services, I had arranged to do a talk about what we do here. It was like a symposium on remote services, and being able to talk about the work we do here in front of a room of library professionals was pretty amazing. And one of the organizers invited me to write a chapter in a book that I think we still have the book here in the collection. I think it's called Moving Materials. And so being able to be an author of a chapter in that book was pretty awesome. I think being able to absorb the call service and the delivery service, well, not the delivery, but the mailroom and all of the circulation activity right around 2010, and kind of unite a diverse group of people. I mean, I think we had like close to 40 staff members at that point, and we started cross-training so people got to know what other people were doing. That was really neat, and I was really proud of that crew and being, kind of overseeing so many different things that we were doing here. And I guess lastly, there's been so many things that the Melrose Center have done that I'm really proud of, but I'm proud through the work of the staff. And if I could pinpoint one moment, it would probably be the Melrose Pop Festival, when we introduced that for the 100-year anniversary. That day in 2023, just kind of observing what was going on, and the 400 people we had in here and all these bands that I have a connection with, and being able to perform on stage and see my staff make all that happen, that was probably the third thing.
Excuse me, I gotta go out to the lobby. Somebody wants me to wave their flame.
"1966 was sunny by all accounts. It only rained in London and only in psychedelic amounts. The money flowed like Kool-Aid through the new suburban economy. Our parents told their parents something, peace and harmony. When does wanting the feeling to last become being stuck in the past? I just want it to last." Born into a family embroidering the family crest, we were well provided for, as my sister will attest. We had the best of everything they sell at Sears. We lived next door to communists who worked as civil engineers. How do you understand something so vast when all of it changes so fast? I just wanted to last night as I lay dreaming that I had finally fallen asleep. I pray the Lord to dig the Beatles. Oh, I pray the Stones my soul to keep. sell the cue cards from 1,000 family histories. I don't receive the news feeds or the text alerts that coincide. When I want to know what's up, I play another album side. When does wanting the feeling to last become being stuck in the past? I just want it to last night as I lay dreaming.
Hey kids. Hi Violet.
Oh, hi, Jim.
Are you ready for another library story?
I sure am.
Well, one time when I was a clerk at the Southeast branch,
You?
I was a clerk, a guy came in, right? And he had some books that were late. And you know what the titles were?
What?
Well, they were all about procrastination.
That makes sense.
You know, but that's not the best part.
What
Get
is it?
this. He decided to pay the fine later.
That makes so much sense.
Later, that same day, a 3-year-old threw up all over the desk.
Barf! I don't like that. Ah!
That our children, our nieces, our nephews know the world for its laughter and light. We're thinking of them as they make their choices. Let them know peace if they don't get it right. Oh, let them know peace if they don't get it right. And fathers rejoice. We have food and a roof and a beer, and we have an idea what's to follow. Let them know peace when they think of us.